Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video with this one, my friends. I'm going to be testing a GeForce RTX 4080 Super in Fallout 4. This one is the Founders Edition model of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Ups. GPU 0, Accessible Bar is also enabled. And over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 9 7950X3D and 32GB of DDR5 6000MHz RAM in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's go over the settings first. I'm starting at 1080p resolution using TAA, and yes, 1080p is a very low res for a 4080 Super, I am aware, but I'm just curious to see what it can do at this resolution. Maybe we're gonna see some insane FPS that will break the physics of the game. Nice. I'm also going to test this one at 1440p, 4K, and 8K resolutions. I'm using TAA over here as the anti-aliasing, 16 samples of anisotropic filtering, which is, well, the maximum, but it doesn't really impact performance in any way. And finally, on the detail settings, we're using the Ultra Quality preset. This is it right here. I'm just going to disable motion blur and let's go. And here we have it, my friends. 4080 Super is nearly maxed out, but we're actually having a CPU bottleneck, a slight CPU bottleneck right now, getting 300 plus frames per second. And as you can see, it's quite funny the way we are moving because it's breaking the engine of this game and the physics of the game. The physics are tied to the FPS that you get, and the game actually defaults, oh my god, 400 FPS, to 60 FPS with a 60 FPS lock. And well, this is what happens if you disable the FPS lock. It's not ideal, okay? It will probably crash at some point. I know that it crashes or just stops completely whenever you try to save the game in a campfire. So yeah, you should definitely avoid this, but it's quite funny. Again, this is sometimes about fun, okay? Benchmarking is fun. Seeing games break like this is also quite fun as well. Also, the first-person animation should be even worse. Look at that. Oh my god. Oh boy. All right. Very interesting, right? But these are the FPS that we get around this area, and this is more of a GPU bound area than CPU bound. If you go to a big city, which I am about to go to, we usually... Whoa, 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 stop, 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 stop attacking me. Please shoot. Oh boy. Everything is broken. Everything is broken. We did it. Where's the other one? There. Oh, it's so fast. It's so fast. It literally looks like it's fast forwarded. I know, but it's not, guys. Okay, you'll see that it's not in just a little bit once the FPS start dropping a little bit, you know, into like the 100s, because that's what's gonna happen inside of the town area. As you can see, as we are approaching it, it's already down into the 100s sometimes. But yeah, as I was saying, around town is more CPU bound, so since we are CPU bottlenecked all of the time here at 1080p resolution, it ends up being the worst intensive area, or worst case scenario, I guess, in terms of FPS. And now it's kind of okay, the animation, you know, the FPS are going up a little bit and it's starting to move way faster again. Oh, this is so ridiculous, but that's the why. Of course, if you lock it to 60 FPS or just leave it by default, you know, without touching anything to unlock it, it will run absolutely fine with 60 FPS all of the time, even at like 4K probably. But yeah, this is just interesting to take a look at. Let's stop it right there, guys, because nobody's gonna play like this really. And let's play at 1440p, and I'll need to restart the game for that. All right, here we go. Let's go up to 2560 by 1440, still utilizing the ultra settings here. And by the way, I could increase it a little bit. These two settings are not maxed out, as you can see, but this one, for example, completely breaks the game to the point where it crashes after 30 seconds of gameplay. So if you're having that issue, just turn this off. And this one already looks decent, you know, so I'm just sticking to the preset here. Let's go. All right, guys, here we have it in the middle of nowhere, basically, right here. Okay, so far away from the big city where we played previously. This is just to see one of those intensive or GPU-bound areas with a lot of vegetation, and this is also where the RTX 3060 dropped the most. But the 4080 Super, well, of course, it has no problems rendering all of this, and we actually end up getting a CPU bottleneck scenario even in this area. Looking at these buildings, it's like a little town right here. So yeah, it gets CPU bound. GPU usage sometimes fluctuates a little bit, but looking in this direction, it gets 100% GPU utilization most of the time. Well, apparently not most of the time, but yeah, sometimes it hits 100%, okay? Still, you're way better off locking the FPS because we're still above 200 frames per second most of the time, completely breaking everything in terms of the physics, and yeah, it's ridiculous. It's not playable like this, obviously, unless you're like a cat and you have very, very quick reactions, and well, maybe you can play like this and see the enemies coming towards you. Look at that. Look at the fighting of the bastards. What happened here? Okay, I can't really tell if it's breaking because of the physics or if it's just the game itself, because it's a Bethesda title. It has a lot of bugs, of course. But yeah, let's try to kill this guy. There we go. There we go. Now, since we are seeing a CPU bottleneck scenario around this area still, that means that in the other area where we started with the 1080p resolution, it would get pretty much the same FPS as we saw previously, because it's still going to be CPU bound. We're limited by what our CPU can do. And, well, if it can't really do more than 300, 400 FPS time at times, or 350 right here, for example, having the resolution at 1440p won't make a difference whatsoever. It will just increase GPU utilization slightly, okay? But hey, at least in some ways, we can still max out the 4080 Super. So there's that. Well, I guess if you have like a keybind to lock and unlock your FPS as you wish, you might want to play like this sometimes, because if you're traveling a long road, for example, to somewhere, it's gonna be way faster if you just unlock your FPS and do this, right? The game itself is moving way faster, so yeah. Also, it's sunset time almost. Oh my god! Oh my god, stop! Stop doing that! God! Whoa, that's a massive explosion. That was sick, actually. I loved it. Let's stop it right there. 266 FPS average. Absolutely insane experience with really low GPU usage. So, yeah, that's what you can expect. Let's go up to 4K, a more adequate res for this card. All right, so I'm bumping it up 3840 by 2160 using the same settings, Ultra. All right, here we have it, guys. 4K resolution is finally giving us some more decent animations, right? This is much better than what it was before. 100 frames per second. It dropped FPS like crazy compared to what we were seeing. 80 FPS right there. Oh, how did I miss that? Okay. Start counting the frames. Okay, this is also another area that I'm testing right here. Let me show it to you. It's the Robotics Pioneer Park. And I forget that I need to press tab to get out of the Pip-Boy, not ESC or escape. I know what ESC stands for, okay? Anyway, so some people were complaining about me saying ESC. Yeah, people complain about everything these days. Around here, down into the 90s. Wow. So, although the 4080 Super impressed quite a lot at 1440p and 1080p, in my opinion, at 4K, it's not really enough for a high refresh rate experience. I mean, the game itself, the engine, is not enough for a high refresh rate experience in the first place. So, there's that. Oh, did I actually... Oh my god, I killed the chopper. I destroyed the thing. Look at that. Amazing. What? A single shot from this sniper rifle. This is the best weapon in the game after all. Not the minigun. The heck with the minigun. Who's shooting at us? Okay, there we go. It's an ogre. What the hell is that? Super mutant warlord. Alright, come on. There we go. I got him. 200 FPS now again. What? Maybe it's the weather that changed and it's now way less intensive? Holy crap. You have a lot of variance in terms of performance depending on what happens in the game and whatnot. Like, what the hell? We're getting like 100 more FPS than previously, or like 80 more FPS than previously. That's absolutely insane. I'm gonna change the time of the day, though. I think I'm gonna go to the big city right now and check out the FPS there. Here we go, getting 150, so it can go down to like 80 FPS or 90 FPS. Even here, it's dropping down into the lower 100s at times, interestingly. A little bit of stuttering there, probably because we're breaking things. But now we're fully CPU bound. As you can see, GPU utilization is like half utilized most of the time, aside from when I zoom in. What do you want, Jack? Please don't do this to me. Please, I don't want to kill you, Jack. This is terrible. I hate doing this, but he hits me in this game, right? We can't really have that, otherwise I'll die. I can't die here. All right, let's venture over here. Yeah, you know what? CPU performance doesn't... What the hell? That's a big jack right there. Okay, I need to go. Oh my god! Stop. This one is way less powerful than the first jack that we killed here today. There we go. All right. A little bit of a different area here in the big city, you know? Interesting. What the hell? Oh, this is a crab. What? Couple of crabs. More crabs. Okay. Goodbye. Good stuff. All right. So, yeah. It's still very much broken in terms of... physics and so on, but sometimes it gets better, right? Anyway, sometimes, like over here, we were seeing 100% GPU utilization, right? So it can actually become very GPU bound even in the city areas, depending on what's going on. But most of the time in cities, it's going to be CPU bound, even with the 7800X 3D or 7950X 3D with half of the CPU cores enabled. I do that just because I want to make sure that the CPU is utilizing, or the game is utilizing, the 3D cores, which are the faster cores for gaming. And some games, for example, the finals, do utilize all of them, or like use some 3D cache cores, other non-3D cache cores, and it ends up hurting performance by quite a bit. So that's why I choose to just use it as a 7800X 3D. Anyway, stop it right there, guys. 4K resolution works perfectly as expected. Lock it to 60 FPS or leave it locked to 60 FPS and you'll have an amazing experience, always at 60 all of the time. And with the bonus of, if you lock it to 60 frames per second, GPU utilization will be at around like 30 to 50% most of the time. And it will consume very little power because these 40 series GPUs are super efficient. So definitely play like this. Even if you have like a 1440p monitor, go into Nvidia control panel, enable DLDSR, I think that's called. I've never really tested it in a video, but it's a good way to achieve a higher resolution internally and make things a lot sharper than your native resolution, and you can definitely do that with the 4080 Super, of course, in a game like Fallout 4. So let's go ahead and test 8K. Here we have it, 7680 by 4320 resolution is up next, and it's still at the ultra settings. Now this game... Oh my god. Okay, it actually drops from 60 FPS. Holy, that's absolutely insane because I've seen so many more recent titles than this that look better than this, getting better FPS, higher FPS than this at 8K, guys. This is absolutely insane. It's just because whenever you increase the resolution in this particular title, you usually get way lower FPS compared to other games. So it doesn't really scale as well as other titles, really. Oh boy. Okay. But, I was thinking, who should I help? The little guy or this guy over here? And I thought, well, he's dead, so I guess I'm just gonna help myself right now. Yes, there we go. Very fast. Anyway, this is a little bit of a town area right here as well. It's getting like 60 frames per second on average. Not terrible, honestly, but again, I just expected a little bit better here at 8K resolution. But you gotta remember that 8K is 4 times 4K. Nobody really plays at 8K anyways. And, well, if the game had DLSS, there might be a mod for it, I don't know. It would probably become a lot more playable with like DLSS performance, but it doesn't matter because 4K is where it's at, really. It looks really sharp and good at 4K resolution, and that's what you should use with a 4080 Super in this title. Now, seeing a little bit more vegetation completely wrecks our performance. We're in the 30s right now, guys. That's insane. Oh boy. Is the guy dead? No, he's just down. Goodbye. Goodbye. Hello. Can you just die, please? No, he can't. All right, I'm curious now. I'm going to stop counting the FPS because I'm going to transport myself or teleport myself. Yeah, that's it. Over to these areas. These are pretty dense areas with a lot of vegetation, as you can see. And it's getting down into the 30s. Oh, it's dropping from 30 FPS. Look at that. With these bushes here on screen. 20-something frames per second. Oh boy, 26 right there. So, not playable at 8K. Obviously, if you adjust the settings, you can make it playable at 60 FPS, even on low settings, for example. But nobody really cares. This was just for fun, guys. We got the opposite end, basically, of what we started with. 1080p resolution, 300 plus frames per second or whatever. And now we got 8K down into the 20s on the same GPU and same settings. So that's been it for this video. I hope you liked my little experiment here, testing a 2015 title with one of the best GPUs in the market at the moment. Well, in terms of performance, not in terms of like price to performance, okay? Oh my god, dropping to 19 FPS over here. That is absolutely crazy. Oh, and there's a cow or a couple of cows bugging out inside over there. Okay. All right, guys. See you soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.